Hello everybody! Today's story time that I have for you is a book called Katie and the Dinosaurs, and that's by James Mayhew. So I'll share the blurb with you. A visit to a natural history museum turns into an adventure for Katie when she steps back in time to the world of the dinosaurs. Katie helps a baby dinosaur find his family, rides on the back of a brontosaurus and has a picnic with a triceratops. But just what will she feed a very hungry Tyrannosaurus Rex? So we'll share that one today. Let's see. Come on, come and look, Grandma. Come and see the dinosaurs, said Katie. Katie loved the Natural History Museum and she wanted to show her Grandma everything. They're just a load of old bones, said Grandma. Well, you're really old, said Katie. There must have been dinosaurs alive when you were little. I'm not that old, said Grandma, looking for somewhere to sit down. They found a seat next to a skeleton of a very fierce-looking dinosaur. Why don't you go and look at your horrible dinosaurs while I have 40 winks, said Grandma. They're not horrible, sniffed Katie, but I do wish that they weren't just skeletons. And she skipped off on her own, taking her picnic lunch with her just in case she got hungry. Katie saw spiky dinosaurs, fishy dinosaurs, flying dinosaurs, horned dinosaurs and long dinosaurs. She closed her eyes and tried to imagine that they were alive. She thought they must have been very frightening with their sharp teeth and claws. Next to one of the dinosaurs was a corridor. Katie set off down it to make sure that she hadn't missed anything worth seeing. The corridor was long and dark and there was no one in sight, and Katie began to feel that she was lost. She looked for a way out sign, but she didn't seem to see one. She was definitely lost. Now what do I do? Said Katie crossly. She came to a big door with a notice on it that said, "Absolutely no admittance whatsoever." I'll just take a quick look, she said, and she opened the door and stepped through. And there she is, look at that, absolutely no admittance whatsoever, and she's going straight through. She's not doing the right thing, is she? The door led outside, and there in front of her was a dinosaur. It was no bigger than Katie, but it was a real live one. "Hello," said Katie. "Who are you?" "Hadrosaurus," said the dinosaur. "And who are you?" "I'm Katie," she said, "and I think I'm lost." "I'm lost too," said Hadrosaurus. "I was chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex." "Isn't that a really fierce dinosaur?" asked Katie. "That's right," said Hadrosaurus. "Now I don't know how to get home." "Don't worry," said Katie. "I'll be able to see where we are from the top of this hill." And she clambered up a steep slope. "This isn't a hill," said Hadrosaurus, scrambling up behind her. And can you see the hill that she thinks is a hill is actually a dinosaur. Katie gasped. It was a brontosaurus. She was very high up and she could see for miles. "Now show me where you live," said Katie. "I think it's somewhere over there along the riverbank," said Hadrosaurus. Katie looked across the river. "What are those funny looking things?" she asked. "They're pterosaurs," said Hadrosaurus. "Watch out." And they're the pterosaurs, the ones that are flying near the riverbank and the volcano. But one of the pterosaurs had already spotted Katie's yellow scarf. It swooped towards her, and before Katie could duck, it had snatched the scarf from her. "Hey, that's mine! Bring it back!" yelled Katie. But the pterosaur was far away already. Now the brontosaurus started to move. She was getting fed up with those two noisy creatures jumping about on her back. And ooh, how they made her itch. Katy hung on for dear life, slipping and sliding about on the Brontosaurus' back as she lumbered down the river for a nice cool bathe. She was so huge that Katy and Hadrosaurus hardly got wet at all. From high up on the Brontosaurus' back, Katy could look right out to sea, and all sorts of strange creatures were swimming there. She recognised some of them from the museum. The Ichthyosaurus with its long snouts and a plesiosaur with its snake-like neck. Look at those. Those are the dinosaurs that lived under the sea, because dinosaurs lived on land and under the sea. That's where you get the fossils from on the beach. Before long, the Brontosaurus reached the edge of the water. "Let's go," said Katy, followed by Hadrosaurus. She slid all the way down to the tip of the Brontosaurus's tail, and they landed in a giggling heap on the ground. The Brontosaurus chuckled a deep, thundery laugh. "Which way now?" said Katy. "Into the jungle," said Hadrosaurus. Lots of different dinosaurs in this book. I hope I'm saying them right, children. The jungle was hot and sticky, and through the trees Katy could see a herd of enormous dinosaurs. "What on earth are those?" asked Katy. "I don't like the look of them." "Only stegosaurs," said Hadrosaurus. "They won't hurt us." "Are you sure?" said Katy suspiciously, as one stegosaur licked its lips. "Oh yes, they only eat plants," said Hadrosaurus, so Katy gave them some grass. Then they went on through the jungle, and soon the trees began to thin out. Suddenly, Hadrosaurus let out a squeal. "Mama! Papa!" he shouted. It was the Hadrosaurus family. His mama and papa hugged him, and they hugged Katy too for bringing him home. "I hope you're not going to eat me," worried Katy. "Don't be afraid, Katy," said Hadrosaurus. "We only eat plants too." That reminded Katy that she hadn't had her picnic lunch yet. Do you remember she took the picnic lunch with her in case she got hungry? Suddenly, another dinosaur crashed out of the jungle. It was the Tyrannosaurus Rex. He had been following Katy and Hadrosaurus all along. He grunted and ground his teeth and swished his tail and stamped his scaly feet. He was hungry. And he didn't want cucumber sandwiches or chocolate biscuits. He wanted meat. He wanted Katy. "Quick, run for your life," said the Hadrosaurs, and Katy took to her heels, and the dinosaurs ran away in alarm. Tyrannosaurus Rex thundered after Katy and the dinosaurs, and they ran through the jungle towards the river. Katy got out of breath, but she kept running. At last she could see the museum ahead of her. If only she'd stayed safely inside. Then she remembered the meat pie. She tore open her lunchbox and threw a piece at the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Clever thinking, Katy. The Tyrannosaurus stopped in his tracks. He sniffed the piece of pie and he ate it up. He liked it so much that Katy threw him the rest, even though she'd been saving it for herself. Tyrannosaurus Rex padded off into the jungle again, contentedly clutching Katy's lunchbox. "Phew, that was close," said Katy. Goodness me, look how big he is compared to Katy with her meat pie. He's huge. One of the biggest dinosaurs. Not as big as the Brontosaurus that they were climbing on, though. It was getting late now, so Katy turned to say goodbye to Hadrosaurus. "I do wish you could come home with me," she said, "but Grandma would only scream and make a fuss." "I'm happy here with my family anyway," said Hadrosaurus, and he gave Katy a lick. "Thank you for helping me to find them." "Blech!" spluttered Katy, as dinosaurs have very sloppy wet licks. Then she went back through the door to the museum. This time, Katy easily found her way through the museum. Grandma was waiting where she had left her. "Where on earth have you been?" said Grandma. "I've seen all kinds of dinosaurs," said Katy. Why don't you come and have a look too? All right, said Grandma. Where do we start? This way, said Katie, taking her hand, and off they went. Brilliant, that was such a good book. And there's actually at the back like a glossary of all the different names of the dinosaurs and how to pronounce them. So I hope I did say them right. But Katie and the Dinosaurs, James Mayhew, a really good fun book if you'd like to read that one yourself another time. So thank you for sharing that with me, and I will see you very soon for another story time. Take care and bye for now.